Mutineers, light speed to Endor!
For 20 minutes.
Yes, big mutineers. Welcome, swabs, scalawags, and sons of bitches. Wibbly wobbly, official, wildly inaccurate yet dead nuts on Disney podcast. Inappropriate on so many levels. Gee whiz, guys, have we got a show for you tonight? We spend an entire hour talking about nothing but the wall bed debate. Jesus Christ, I don't have my glasses. Debacle from Disney's Riviera Resort. I would like to start that again, but fuck it. I'm out.
Bye, news guy. Guys, we're not really talking about any of that.
So, I think it's hilarious how for the first word, news guy sounded a lot like Dimitri, and then went back into being the news guy.
They've been hanging out on the weekends?
Dimitri, if you want. He's
No!
good. He's a good friend.
Son of a bitch. Guys, all I want to do is talk about Star Wars. I've been wanting to talk about it for 4 weeks now.
No,
right?
We have. I am here. I have been
No.
gone. I have been gone on business in Ukraine. He's good. He's good. He's fine. He's perfectly normal.
No, wait. Dimitri,
I go to Ukraine for perfectly good, normal business deal.
I'm going to yell at Robbie for a second because I just said all I wanted to do is talk about Star Wars, and he said, right? As if he wasn't the reason we couldn't talk about it 2 weeks ago.
Well,
I have Star Wars. I have Star
and
Wars.
it literally
Space
did
Force.
come out.
This is a goddamn mess.
He's fine. I am here.
Yeah. Wait, hold on. Wait, what did I say?
I bring Eagle with. I'm good.
Oh my gosh. Jordan, you want to start a podcast?
Oh my god, I have a headache.
His nickname in middle school. Of course, I don't go to middle school, but yes.
Okay, Dimitri, sit on your hands. We're going to start the show because we got a lot to talk about tonight, boys.
Yeah.
Okay, I go.
Like, did he want someone to stop him? Bye, Dimitri. I love you.
I'm still here.
Bye, Dimitri.
All right, he left.
Forced by.
Okay, guys.
Forced by. Is that like Forrest Gump?
In all... Damn it. In all fairness to news guy, I just wanted him to think that that's what we were talking about tonight. But no, we are talking about some Star Wars because we have two saga finales to talk about.
I want to know about the wall beds now.
No, we'll talk about that next week.
What? So I'm trying to figure out
sweet
something on my
eagle
phone.
costume. I put on a sweet eagle costume to learn about wall beds.
You were misled.
Fine.
So here's what we were going to talk about.
On after this.
Do we want to go with Mandalorian first or Rise of Skywalker first?
That's up to you.
Rise of Skywalker first, because I have a complaint.
Oh, jeez.
I have a huge complaint.
Let's talk about Mandalorian first because it will not take as long.
No, my complaint is short.
Well, put a pin in it.
I'll forget.
Yeah. Anyway. So 2 weeks ago, the season finale of Mandalorian came out on Disney Plus, and we all watched it, right?
Yeah.
Yes.
It was amazing.
I watched
sorry,
it
the
like
what
3
now?
times.
The Witcher?
God damn it.
Oh, haven't seen any of that yet.
Yeah, neither have I. I'm watching Mandalorian.
The what
So,
now?
it's about a car that's half DeLorean, half man. It time travels and bounty hunts. It's wild.
That is weird.
It's a hell of a show.
You should make that a shirt.
Someone already has.
Like, just Mandalorian, half man, half DeLorean, time travels and bounty hunts.
And then a fee sheet. Anyway.
And then the DeLorean, if it says stainless steel, it's made out of
Beskar?
Steel? Yeah.
Beskar.
The best car.
Damn it.
All right, guys, this is my last episode.
Really? Now?
I was
Now
saving
of
it for
all
a special.
times?
I was saving it for a special episode, but just fuck it.
You know
I feel
what?
like
I'm
wait a
coming.
minute.
I'm coming over to your house, Jordan.
Okay.
Jordan, lock your door. Turn
It's
the
all right.
lights
I moved. What?
Oh, here. I'll move real quick.
No.
All right, Mandalorian season
How
finale.
How awesome was that opening scene with the scout troopers?
I loved
It was
that.
pretty
scene.
funny.
I didn't realize it at the time, but one of those scout troopers is Jason Sudeikis.
I didn't realize it at the time either, and now the world knows, and they hate him for what the atrocities that he committed in that 5 minutes.
Yeah.
Punching the fucking baby Yoda?
Yes.
Yeah. You see how that worked out for him?
Yeah, he got shot by the IG unit.
No, he didn't. Not a single one of those got shot. He smashed his face into the speeder bike.
Oh yeah.
The
Yeah, I really enjoyed Adventures in Babysitting version of IG-11.
Yeah.
And I enjoyed that meme as well.
So I didn't realize it either. But that episode was directed by Taika Waititi.
Yes.
And when I saw that it was directed by Taika Waititi, I was like, oh, well, that totally makes sense with all of the banter back and forth from the stormtroopers.
And
Yeah.
he's the voice of IG-11 too.
Yeah.
That's pretty fun.
And he is glorious. And yeah.
So
Yeah,
after seeing that
he-
scene, I kind of wish Disney Plus would do a shorts series of just Imperial soldiers just having shop talk.
Yes.
And it
That'd
could
be
be
funny.
any soldiers
Oh
at
my
any given
God,
point in
kinda
time.
Kind of like the roommate Thor shorts.
Kind of, but it's
But
just.
there's only like 2 or 3 of those, wasn't there?
But it can be just like 2 Imperial officers, just like at the water cooler on the Death Star, and then it can be like maybe 2 Imperial gunners, and maybe a couple of clone troopers.
What it reminded me of, remember in A New Hope, where like the 2 stormtroopers are like, "Hey, have you seen the new model of something yet?" When Obi-Wan
in Rogue One-
Kenobi is interrupting me. Go ahead, Josh. What were you saying?
No, there's a good pause there, and you were being a dick.
Anyway, when the stormtroopers, when Obi-Wan was shutting down the reactor for the Death Star, and they're talking about the new model something, it was like an extension of that. And I'm on board with Jordan's idea. I think we could get more of this.
Yeah,
So,
it'd be
there's a prequel to that conversation in Rogue One when they said a certain hey, did you hear certain blah 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 was obsolete? That's a model blaster from the Clone Wars.
Oh, really?
Yeah,
When's that? Oh, I missed that part.
that's right before the Rebels fucking just blew up the base there. In
Scarf.
The Citadel Tower. Scarif. Not Scarf. Who said Scarf?
I said
Robbie,
scarf.
it's not.
He
It's
said
not Scarf,
Scarif.
Robbie.
I didn't even say
Still not
that.
Robbie talking.
Robbie, no more lip from you.
But how badass was Moff Gideon?
He was pretty, he didn't do anything and I was scared.
Right?
I also, I
Until
know
the
of that
very end.
actor and I know that he was really big on Breaking Bad.
Yeah.
I didn't watch any Breaking Bad. So I don't know how menacing his character was on that show, but I've seen him in other things. And I've seen him just as menacing in other things.
He was very menacing in Breaking Bad. In fact, there was a little... I don't want to spoil Breaking Bad for you, but there was a little Breaking Bad Easter egg in this episode.
I really don't care about Breaking Bad. If I haven't seen it by now, I'm probably not going to watch it.
Well, can I spoil it then?
Sure.
Yes.
Go ahead.
Okay, so in Breaking Bad, he plays Gus Fring, and Gus Fring meets his demise when he realizes there's a bomb near him, and he sees it and shouts, "No!" And then it blows up. Where in this episode, he realizes there's a bomb on his wing, and he sees it and shouts, "No!" in exactly the same way.
That's funny. But
There's
one
a
thing
nice
I found interesting at the end of the episode, was the fact that he had the freaking dark saber.
So I hear that's a big deal.
Yes,
Yeah.
because
So
The
follow-up
Darksaber
question.
is huge, and Jake, you would know about it if you watched Rebels or Clone Wars in order.
yeah, and second point, technically the last known place that saber was with the Mandalorians and Darth Maul.
No, Darth Maul did not have it.
Yeah, and the
Not the
Clone
last
Wars-
known place. That's not the
Well-
last known place. You said
Sabine gave it to someone.
yes. The leader of the Mandalorians gets a dark saber, and Moff Gideon defeated the Mandalorians.
Yeah, and then Darth Maul.
So it makes sense
guy.
that he would have. No. Back up. Darth Maul was dead by then, Robbie. Dead. D-E-D. Dead.
It's true, I saw that part on YouTube.
Okay.
And also, how
Which
Yes,
dare
I'm
you?
not fully
Really?
caught up then. I'm barely
You
just
know-
starting Rebels. So I'm not fully caught up then, I
So you
guess.
don't even know who Sabine is. First of all, Sabine's amazing.
Speaking of Sabine and Ahsoka,
No, we're not doing that.
why not?
Because we're talking about Mandalorian and Rise of Skywalker. I think we're done talking about Mandalorian.
But yeah, the other interesting point in the Mandalorian was when the IG unit pulled off his helmet.
And wouldn't you know it, the Viper was there under it the whole time.
I'm really glad Pedro Pascal's head injury in The Mandalorian worked out a lot better for him than his head injury in Game of Thrones.
That was by far my favorite tweet.
I was doing an episode of Magic Ghastly the other night with Jeremy.
Oh, where can we find that?
On the DizTwit network. Search your podcast app for DizTwits and subscribe, and you'll find the Magic Ghastly Power Hour. So I said that joke on the Magic Ghastly Power Hour, completely forgetting that Jeremy has not watched Game of Thrones, and I was waiting for a chuckle or a giggle, and he just stared at me. And I'm like, oh, that's right, you haven't seen Game of Thrones.
Is he working on it?
I don't think so. I don't know if it's his thing.
Oh, because man, that's a fantastic joke. Have you guys seen Game of Thrones?
No.
I have not.
Yeah.
Just watch the
We
Look up-
don't have HBO or someone's password to it.
weird. Anyway, look up on YouTube The Mountain versus the Viper. Just see how well that goes for him.
Mm-hmm.
Well, the mountain is a goddamn mountain.
Yes.
in real life, like he is just a fucking mountain. He's
Yeah.
like 10 feet tall and weighs 1,000,000 pounds.
Yeah. I
He
mean,
can lift twice as much
as what?
himself. He can lift 2 of hims.
Anyway, Viper versus the Mountain, Mandalorian, fantastic. Season 2 already being worked on. Comes out in November.
Yeah,
Can
which
we
is
hold
awesome.
on for a second? Can we talk about the buff R unit droid that was the gondola?
Swole
That
2D2.
Yeah,
That
And
was
he just
creepy as
stands up.
shit.
and then he
Yeah.
just flexes his muscles and starts pushing that boat like the gondola it is.
You need muscles to push a boat through fucking lava, man. That's his only job. He's been working that shit.
I thought he was going to be a threat or menacing in some sort of way.
No, he was just scary.
And then I expected him to start singing as he was gondoliering down the lava
Just,
river.
That would have been
Crooning a little Dean Martin on the way out. When the moon hits your eye like a big pizza pie, that's amore.
Oh, sole mio. God, that was pretty good.
That was. You should be a recording artist.
I try.
Hmm.
I can do recording. It's the artist part. I'm not. Yeah. Anyway, another Star Wars saga ended within the last month, and this one, guys, I've read so many divisive things on the internet on the rise of Skywalker.
You know what? I've avoided it because I like it and I don't care because I like it. I saw it twice and I liked it both times.
Yeah, it's a really great movie.
I was there for one of those times.
Did you like it?
Yeah, it's true. All of it.
Wow. Ooh, nice. Good
Nice
call.
quote in there.
Yeah, I saw it the first time, and I was like, I think I really like this movie. I think. But it was cruising along at the speed of a Coke binge.
It was insanely fast paced, and I felt kind of bad because like Josh. So like we had planned this almost a week out, where we were gonna meet up and grab a drink and have some pizza.
Oh, I was so mad.
But Josh hadn't moved into his closer residence to me just yet, and he left at a pretty decent time, and for some reason his GPS rerouted him all the way around Atlanta.
Surface streets, all the way. Streets. What should have taken me 45 minutes by the time I left took me 2 hours and 15 minutes.
Yeah.
Bloody hell.
So Josh ended up having to meet us at the theater, and then like he was there when we rolled up, but we pretty much got there at almost the same time.
Yikes.
So
Yeah.
you're saying there
And
was...
I was hungry. I did not have a beer in me, as far as anyone knows.
No, he definitely had one of those. I knew.
And now we all know.
But
Now
so like the movie starts, and then it just does not let up until it ends. It was pretty fast paced.
Yeah. I do have one complaint since you said the movie starts.
Uh-huh.
I vote this, and this is not... Let me explain myself on this. The opening crawl is probably the second worst opening crawl of any of the sagas. But
Yeah.
I also think that the only important opening crawls was on episode 1, 4, and 7. All the other ones are just filler, so I can let it slide. It's just the beginning of each trilogy. It's all we need. I mean, I enjoy the opening crawls. It's part of the film. But this one... This is far and away my biggest complaint of the movie, by the way.
So does anyone want to hear my biggest complaint of the movie?
Sure.
Should we vote on this?
Yeah, voted on it.
Okay, fine. What's your biggest complaint?
Well, I'm waiting for Jordan's vote.
Well, two of us already voted.
Well, yeah, I'm waiting for Jordan's vote.
Sure.
Oh, 3 against 1? I guess I'll tell you.
Fuck.
Language, Robbie. I am disappointed that it took 40-some years for Chewie to get a medal.
That's not a complaint.
Yeah, I'm mad that he didn't get a medal back in 1977. He deserved it.
So your complaint is on A New Hope, not Rise of Skywalker.
Yeah.
What movie did you watch?
Chewie's medal came 40 years too late.
I'm not gonna lie, I wept when the medal showed up.
Technically, that's still
Yeah.
Han's medal. So,
Brutal, Jordan.
well, here's the deal. So I feel like one of the big complaints of this film was fan service. And normally I'm okay. Like, fan service doesn't bother me so much, except when it's very, very blatant. And I do feel that Abrams caved on a lot of
fan service.
Not necessarily fan service, but ideas and fan theories throughout the film. But I think this one is particularly fan servicey. Because that started out as like a meme 10 years ago. Like, why didn't Chewie get his medal? And then when you get this, you're like, oh, okay. Chewie finally got his medal. I'm not saying I disliked it, but I picked up on I know why this was done.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean,
One
it
thing
totally
that
was, but
Go ahead, Robbie.
go ahead, Robbie.
well, I was just gonna say,
And Jake.
is it the ship that kind of looks like the Ghost actually the Ghost, for one thing?
Yes.
And the second thing is they barely did much at the battle. Like, the only parts you really see that ship are when all the ships are coming in and then after the battle.
Well, that's all you need to see it for.
I mean, I'm glad.
Yeah, the ghost was an Easter egg, not fan service.
Yeah.
I'm happy it was included.
Yeah, like,
Yeah.
I'm happy it was included. It just kind of sucks that it wasn't in the background of the battle at all.
I mean, the Outrider was in there too.
And supposedly the Razor Crest was as well.
Oh, I didn't even see the Razor Crest at all.
Razor Crest is in there, but the engines are smaller than.
So it's not the scale.
Yes.
Yay.
It's only a model. But anyway, back to what I was saying.
Let's not go to Tatooine. To the silly place.
So the second time I saw the movie, so after the first time, it sped along. I was enjoying it. It was fun. I was loving it. But then at the end, I was like, I have questions. And I'm not sure if they were actually answered. And I just missed it. And so the second time through, I paid attention. And yeah, my questions were answered. They were in there. I just missed them. So I was like,
that settles that.
Yeah, I was like, I'm going to find these plot holes. I don't know why I was taking this stance, but I couldn't find them after that. But I've read a few people that are like, so the Emperor's plan is to amass this entire, fleet, and then announce his plan. And I was just like, that's very in character for the Emperor. He's very theatrical. He's into theatrics. That's what he does.
Yeah.
That's what he's always done.
Well, it didn't pay off so well the first time, though.
Yeah, and the second time
Clearly
really
still
bad
didn't
way.
pay off. Didn't really pay off. Well, you could argue that it might have paid off in episode 3.
Yeah, it did
Episode
pay off the
6,
first time.
Yeah.
The second time, not so much.
Third
Third
time,
time.
nope.
Almost, though. Every one of those Star Destroyers had a planet-destroying weapon on it.
Yeah, that was pretty
Yeah.
bonkers. That was pretty
That
bonkers.
What I really liked about that, because like when that happened, I enjoyed it, but I could hear the internet. I wish I sent Jordan
Crying
the
out.
script. I could hear the internet being like, "Oh, so they have another planet destroyer."
Millions of voices crying out in agony.
But like, I was just thinking, I was like, "This is the progress of technology. We make everything stronger and smaller." And
Yep.
so, it made sense to me.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
That's me, right?
Mm-hmm.
All right.
So was his little freaking temple there? Was that Mount Tantus?
What temple? What?
His temple on the whatever planet they were on, was that Mount Tantus?
Oh, the Emperor's temple?
Yes.
I have no idea. I don't know what that is.
Yeah, I haven't read too much into
Mount.
the expanded universe. The planet was called Exegol, by the way.
Thanks, Jordan.
Exegol.
Okay, so that's not the planet that's in the Thrawn trilogy.
That I don't know. I've not read the Thrawn trilogy.
Well, no, it's damn it, it's way something or other. That, like, seriously, that's the name of it, way something or other.
Oh, wow. They really stretched for that title. Speaking of planets, though, that opening scene with Kylo Ren just hacking through all those troops and everything.
Yeah, that was on Mustafar.
Yeah.
That was good.
I thought that was pretty
good.
cool.
So I liked how Mustafar has now made an appearance in 3 movies.
I also think it's weird how they call the Jedi Wayfinder.
Uh-huh.
Like, why didn't they just call it a holocron?
I was wondering the same thing.
So when we watched it, Seamus, who's freaking turns 10 this year, as soon as they pulled it out, he goes, "It's a holocron, Dad." It's like, and then they called it a Wayfinder, and he was like, kind of like bummed. But it looks just like the freaking holocron, the Sith holocron on Rebels.
Yeah. And I looked it up, and theoretically, they're 2 different things because they do 2 different jobs, but they look exactly the same. So
Which is weird.
Yeah.
What does a holocron do? Wait, holocrons on Rebels?
Well,
Yeah,
the holocrons that's what houses all like the knowledge of the Sith and the Jedi, and that's what gets passed along. And the Wayfinder is just a fancy looking map.
Basically, yeah.
Another favorite text I got from Jordan after the movie was your what did you say about treasure hunting?
Oh yeah, I wasn't expecting a treasure hunt movie.
Yeah. Nor was I.
But I was more than fine with it. Like, I thought it was really cool. I liked the dagger, and I liked how they had to decipher a message. And then I like how the dagger was a map, and this was like one of the parts where I'm like, how did they know where to stand? Because like that the wreckage lines up with the cutout of the map. So like how do they know where to stand to put the dagger exactly over so the outline of the wreckage matches the outline of the shape of the knife? But something I questioned like 2 weeks after. Like, I'm by no means like trying to poke a plot hole in this film, but I was just kind of like, hey, wait a minute. Like, I was here for it. I love the fact that it lined up like that with a basic giant arrow pointing directly to the spot where they needed to go.
Would you like to know the answer?
Yeah.
It was kind of a combination of Rey being force sensitive and just kind of coincidence. Like, her force sensitivity coincidentally led her to that spot. And it's like, this is where we need to do this.
I mean,
here.
I accept that as an answer. I mean, the entire film in Saga is nothing but the Force telling people to do stuff. So
yeah, it's not unbelievable at all.
The Force is weird.
That's not how the Force works. Oh shoot! What was I just gonna say? Oh yeah. So I noticed, and the world noticed. I noticed people were like, "Oh, I'm so happy that J.J. Abrams corrected Rian Johnson's mistakes."
Oh God!
I beg to differ. Oh yes, Jordan.
Oh no! I don't want to steal your thunder. Go ahead and say what you were going to say.
I don't think he corrected anything. I think he just, like... Okay, for example, when Luke shows up and catches the lightsaber and says a Jedi's weapon needs to be treated with more respect than that, I didn't see that as a correction. I saw that as like a final movement on Luke's character arc. Because he finished The Last Jedi caring again. And then that carried over into this movie. I'm like, this makes perfect sense. This isn't JJ being like, suck it, Ryan. It's just, this is how Luke turned out.
Yeah.
So I agree, but also slightly disagree at the same time. I think that the two movies do and can exist within the same trilogy canon, and what happens in The Rise of Skywalker does not take away from anything that happened in The Last Jedi, or vice versa. However, I think very slightly that it does, though, because what happened in The Last Jedi is still relevant and happened, but you also see how JJ wrote around it to kind of bring in the reins a little bit. I don't want to use the word fix, because I don't think he fixed anything. I think he wrote around it. So it's almost like he did retcon some stuff from Last Jedi, but he did it in a way that wasn't shitty.
Right.
Yeah.
Like, does that make sense? Like, he's like, he looked at Last Jedi and was like, okay, well, now I have to do this, this, and this, because he felt that was righting the ship. Right. And I even hate to use that phrase too, but because I feel like anything you say or give credence to that phrase invalidates anything that happened in The Last Jedi with what Rian Johnson did. And I think that personally, The Last Jedi is my favorite of the entire trilogy, and is probably my third favorite Star Wars film. So I think they both do exist and can coexist well with one another. However, I do think that J.J. Abrams did kind of retcon some stuff, but he did it in a way that made sense in the context of the story, so he did it in a way that wasn't shitty.
Yeah.
Like, does that make sense?
Yeah, I can agree with that.
Yeah. No, totally.
Like the whole thing he set up about Rey's parents being nobody, and then in the Rise of Skywalker, it's like, well, they were nobody because they wanted to be nobody, not because they were actually nobody.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, if he wanted to be
Stuff like
shitty
that.
about that, he could have just been like, oh, he was wrong, he was lying to you or something. Like, he still took the nobody story and moved with it.
Right. Again, he redid it in a way that wasn't shitty. Like,
Exactly. Yes. One of my favorite, again, I don't want to say fixes, but I don't have any other word for it, was when they mentioned the Holdo maneuver.
Uh-huh.
And there was like, that was just a 1 in a million shot, man.
Yeah.
And I was just like, that's all the explanation I need. Thank you. That's because I was firmly in the camp of.
No, go ahead. Sorry.
Are you in your fridge?
Not in it. I'm near it.
Anyway,
Opening
like,
it.
Like, I saw you walk
Closing it.
away and I can still hear you clearly, and it freaked me out. Anyway.
Yeah, that's the magic of Bluetooth. I'm over here. Hi, guys.
Hi. In the Last Jedi, when I think the Holdo maneuver was one of the greatest things I've ever seen in cinema. It blew my mind. My jaw dropped. Just the silence
It was fucking
of
gorgeous.
Exactly. That scene was freaking art. But my mind was like, well, why don't they just do this all the time? And so in this movie, when they said it was a 1 in a million shot and she got lucky, great. That's all the explanation I need to set my mind at ease. I'm like, there's an explanation for it. They're not going to do that all the time. I'm good. We're good. I'm good. You good? We're good.
Good.
Good. I just really like that. And another thing, like, simple explanations like that, I'm not against. One of the things I missed the first time, I was like, why is 3PO even on this treasure hunting adventure with them? And then the second time I watched it, when everyone's like, I'm coming with you, BB-8 says something to 3PO, and 3PO just says, I wholeheartedly agree, and goes with them. I have no idea what BB-8 said, but apparently there was a reason, and I'm fine with it.
I feel like if I have any complaints about the film, and it's not even really a complaint, but more so an observation, was all of the Leia scenes. Well, you since they were filmed for other movies, you
Yeah.
can tell that they were just writing dialogue against pre-existing dialogue for different contexts. And a lot of the dialogue had a lot of nothing in it. Like what she said was just, again, stuff that didn't make the cut. So like, all right, well, what's salvageable and
Yeah.
what can we use? So I could just clearly tell that they were writing dialogue against pre-existing dialogue for a different context.
Yeah, they were writing backwards. They had what she said. Yeah.
Right.
I noticed that exact thing too, and like I don't want to hold it against them because I know why they did it. It's very obvious why they did it, and it's sad because Carrie Fisher's no longer with us. But like when she's walking over to go lay down on the bed, and there's like the lighting of everything, I was like, this is clearly not Carrie Fisher. Just like the knowledge that I had. My kids didn't know. They don't know who Carrie Fisher is or that she's dead. They was like, there's Leia. She's laying down. But I felt like that soiled my initial viewing of it. So, also along those lines. Oh, were you gonna say something else?
Yeah. I also think Rose Tycho got done dirty in this movie. Like I think this movie should have had more Rose Tycho in it.
Yeah, I liked Rose.
Rose is great.
I thought Rose was awesome, and I agree. I wanted to see more of her.
I mean, I'm glad she got to help at the final battle, though. That was cool. But for a majority of the movie, she was just back up base in the forest.
Yeah, I was kind of bummed because what's his face, Dominic Monaghan.
Why was he there?
So I was wondering how many lost cast members J.J. Abrams can shove in an episode of Star Wars. Turns out it's 2.
Who was the second one?
Wait a minute. No, never mind. He wasn't in Lost. He was in Heroes. The dude who played Snap Wexley.
Who was Snap Wexley?
He was the other cocky X-wing fighter. That wasn't Poe.
Oh, the guy that looks like Burt Kreischer.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah.
But I think the story I had heard was that he and J.J. Abrams bet on a soccer game, and the stipulation was if Dominic won, then J.J. had to put him in the next Star Wars movie, and I think that's what happened. That's the story I heard. I don't know how true that is, but yeah, I felt a lot of his role could have just been given to Rose.
Yeah, I agree.
Nothing against Dominic Monaghan. I think he's great. I like him in everything. So everything that I see him in.
Yeah.
By the way, I'm back.
Hi, Robbie.
We never knew you left.
My computer either may have done something stupid or something because you guys froze and I had to end the call, close out of Skype, and then when I reopened it, I had to re-sign in. And when I tried to rejoin the call, it just made beeping sounds. And then after I closed the call, it continued doing the damn beeping sounds. So I had to change to my phone.
Jordan, are your eyes green?
I don't know.
So I wanted to see more of the what the hell's her Carrie Russell's character.
Zori.
There, so
Zori Bliss.
Yeah. I liked how her and Poe had that little bit of a relationship.
And also, come to find out, Poe was a former drug dealer.
Yeah.
Smuggled spice. Spice runner.
Well,
Yeah,
that's a drug
yeah,
dealer in the
and
Star Wars universe.
Spice. Well, spice is a drug on fucking Dune as well.
Yep. And he who controls the spice controls space travel in Dune. That has nothing to do with Star Wars. Anyway.
Except it's the basis for Star Wars.
Well, that too. I just meant the spice in particular, because Han Solo was a spice smuggler.
So going back to Carrie Fisher for a moment. Little sentimental thing from me. I guess when where I grew up with Star Wars, like Princess Leia was like my first crush. You know, I was like, what? When I first saw Star. So when did Empire come out? 83?
80.
80.
Really?
Yep.
Yeah.
Okay, so Jesus. I just remember, you know, back then I missed New Hope by a year for being born. But I remember seeing New Hope when I was really little in the theater.
It probably got reissued in the theater.
Well, it did. I mean, they did that all the time back then.
Yeah, back then, like, blockbusters wasn't really a thing that caught on yet. I mean,
Right.
Jaws started it, but...
But anyway, so I the first time I saw Star Wars, I mean, Jesus, I don't even know if it was called A New Hope then. In 77, it definitely wasn't, but by the time Empire came out, maybe. Anyways, fucking Leia was like little fucking 3-year-old Josh's first crush, you know? And God damn, when Carrie died, that hurt. And you know, so here I am living in a fucking world where Carrie Fisher is dead, but Princess Leia is alive. And then now I don't have either. And it kind of hurts.
But another thing about
Wow,
that is in the flashback when when Luke shows Rey Leia's saber was really cool how they did that.
That training scene on Endor?
Yeah.
I liked that.
Yeah.
Speaking of training
I'm pretty sure
scenes,
that was like some huge fan service right there.
I don't think that was fan service. I think the other training scene was blatant fan service and JJ caving to internet outrage towards Star Wars films was the fact that you saw Rey training, not Trey raining. That you saw Rey training in a Star Wars film, because that's the big thing, was like, oh well, we've never seen her train. You saw her train in the last movie. You don't need to see this one.
Literally.
But the second or the next day at work was one of the guys I work with who we both love Star Wars, but we're very polar opposites on this whole new trilogy. He loves everything except the new trilogy, and I just love everything. And I made a joke. I said, "Oh, you happy now? You finally got your scene with Rey training, so you can calm down." He's like, "Well, it should have been there to begin with." I'm like, "No." Yes, Jake.
Just to stoke this fire, I just want to point out.
No, wait. That's not a guy I worked with. That was a guy I went to school with. Never mind.
Oh, well, can I still stoke the fire?
Sure.
We've seen Rey train far more than we saw Luke train.
Mm-hmm.
So, yeah, I don't see what Rey is one of my. Hold on, Rey might be my favorite Star Wars character. I think she's great, and the way her arc has ended.
No,
What?
I think D.O. is the best Star Wars character.
Do you think Rey
No,
is
thank you.
great?
Both of you need to go home.
I am. Oh, Josh, do you want to come to my home and I'll go to your home?
Who am I gonna snuggle with if we do that? Oh, that came out
I've got
way
cats.
bad. That came. God damn it!
But to go back,
I'm just gonna stay here in my eagle suit.
Okay.
to go back to what Josh was saying about Carrie Fisher, there is, and what Jordan was saying earlier about having to work backwards from the footage they already have of her. I have no proof of this, but I am 100% convinced that the Han Solo scene was supposed to be Leia.
Kind
Yeah, I could probably see that.
Because like that's what started that whole scene was she went and called his name and distracted him, and then
But the way I came away from the Han Solo scene was that Han Solo wasn't a Force ghost.
no, he was a
fucking
memory.
complete figment. Yeah, he's a figment of Ben Solo's imagination.
Right. I have nothing wrong with the Han Solo scene. I thought the way they did it was beautifully done. Like going back and mirroring the scene on the bridge.
Mm-hmm.
It was amazing. I loved the Han Solo scene, and I'm glad that that was kept under wraps because when he showed up, I gasped audibly along with everyone else in the theater.
Mm-hmm.
And it was a glorious moment for me.
Yeah.
But I still think it was supposed to be Leia. But obviously they couldn't do that. Because I think Kylo Ren's a mama's boy. Not that there's anything wrong with that. They touched on that in Last Jedi when he had the cockpit of the ship in his targets and he backed off.
Right.
But I mean, it works either way. This is not a complaint. This is merely an observation.
Mm-hmm.
I still love the scene the way it was. I do have... along with that scene... Okay, I complained about the opening crawl as one of my complaints. Another complaint I had was that scene where Maz Kanata just took the audience's hand and explained exactly what was happening. When she's like, she's going to use all of her energy and this will kill her or something. That's not what she said, but something along those lines.
Yeah.
And I was just like, we picked up that this is what happens. Luke did it, killed him. This is fine. I don't feel like I needed my hand held in that moment, but it was like, were there people in The Last Jedi that didn't understand what happened to Luke, and that's why they did it?
Maybe.
But either way, that was also a thing that happened. But again, that was 3 seconds of the movie, so I'm not gonna let that spoil anything. Also, I like how Maz is just like
Maz.
She's very expositional in all of the films.
Yeah.
Like she is there to push things along.
Ooh.
And I'm fine with that. I really like Maz. I'm glad she was like actually in person.
Who just swallowed?
I heard that too.
Yeah, it wasn't me.
Well, process of elimination. Robbie spit next time. Anyway.
God damn it, don't say that to my kid.
Sorry. I'm not going to say it to mine. That's weird. And then one more minor complaint, and this is a stupid complaint because I was spoiled in the same year by Avengers Endgame and the massive call to arms scene in that one.
Mm-hmm.
And we kind of got a call to arms scene in this one with the Jedi voices. And just because of Endgame, I was expecting the Force Ghosts to show up, and they didn't. But
yeah, that was
I
one
found
thing
out
that was
why.
I think the so when you say call to arms scene, that's not really the one that I think of. I think the call to arms scene is whenever the fleet shows up in Exegol. Like whenever So whenever Poe so there are two parts of this film that got me a little teary. The first one was whenever Chewbacca found out that Leia was gone.
That was good. That dude acted his ass off in the Chewbacca suit.
Well, and that has to go with the Wookiee life debt, because the Wookiee life debt extended from Han to Leia to actually Ben.
Yeah, that would make sense.
Yeah, I can see that. But also whenever it looks like the Rebel fleet or the Resistance fleet is about to get just decimated, and like Lando shows up with everybody.
Dude, right then when Poe was like, there's too many of them, or there's too many of them, and then you just hear Lando do but there's more of us.
Yeah.
Dude. Okay, so the Emperor's lightning fingers.
Mm-hmm.
The fucking bass. That was just fucking gnarly.
Oh yeah,
that was pretty
one.
neat.
But backing up into that call to arms scene, I also squealed like a little boy when Wedge Antilles showed up.
Yeah, for all 1 second.
I don't care. Wedge was there in the final battle, and I was ecstatic.
Okay, and then Colin Ray's ship, fucking Red 5.
Mm-hmm.
Oh my god!
Well,
I got such a nerd.
It was Red 5.
Yeah, it was Red 5.
Well, I know, but I mean, they didn't have to call it Red 5.
No, I agree with you. I was so happy about it. Even my kid. So my 5-year-old is a total Star Wars nerd, and when they said Red 5, he's like, "That's Luke's X-wing." I was like, "It is Luke's X-wing." He's like, "Yeah."
High fiving in the theater, and then you're like, "Shh, shh, shh, quiet, buddy."
Pretty much, yeah. But speaking of Luke's X-wing. Jordan, I don't understand how you only teared up twice in this movie. Because this one part, when Luke finally got the X-Wing out of the water, a sweet callback to Empire Strikes Back.
Yeah. I mean, that gave me the goosebumps. I get it.
So to lead up to this, I watch movies when I'm doing cardio at the gym. And a couple weeks ago, I started with Rogue One. I'm sorry. I should have started with Episode 1, but I started with Rogue One. And went immediately into New Hope. Just finished Empire. And this morning, I started Jedi. But yeah, Luke finally getting the fucking X-Wing out of the water. It's like, good for you.
Yeah, I was so happy about that. Also, I really liked how there were connections to the prequel trilogy in this movie.
Well, you don't wrap up 9 movies without referencing the 8 that came before it, right?
Right, exactly.
Wait, what came from the prequel trilogy? Because I'm thinking battle droids, but then I'm thinking that was
Mandalorian.
Yeah.
Well, first of all, clone technology.
In which the battle droids were fucking frightening in Mandalorian.
Yes.
They weren't that scary in the fucking prequels.
Yeah.
So I'm gonna go off on a train of thoughts here, and they're all connected. But in the beginning, when Palpatine did his exact spiel from Episode 3 about a power that many consider to be unnatural.
Mm-hmm.
That was word for word from Episode 3. And then the whole clone technology. And what I liked about this was, through the last 2 movies, something that I hoped would get addressed. I was like, I thought, Anakin was redeemed. So why in Episode 7 is Kylo Ren talking to Darth Vader? Like, that's not making sense to me. But in this one, when you find out the whole time it was Palpatine's voice in his head.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
And then at the end, you hear Anakin's voice team up with Rey. I'm like, oh my gosh, it all came together perfectly.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
It was glorious.
But speaking of voices, you fucking got Ahsoka. You got
Kanan?
Rebels guy.
Kanan?
Yeah.
His name's Kanan.
He's the guy that killed Abel, right?
I don't know, not that far. Oh wait, that was the first story. Literally. But no, so like, because I saw so many people on the internet being like, this whole sequel trilogy just completely like cancels out Anakin's redemption. Come to find out, no, it didn't. Didn't cancel it out at all. In fact, once again, he was there at the end and helped destroy the Sith.
Yep.
Like, it ended.
Guys,
I couldn't think of a more perfect ending.
Guys, I'm really, really excited for the Ahsoka
Sabine
show.
I don't think that's a thing.
Called.
No, it is.
Is it?
Yeah, no, there's going to be like a Rebels sequel with
Sweet.
Ahsoka and Sabine.
Wait, is this official?
Yeah.
Because Jake hasn't seen the last episode.
No, don't tell me anything.
Yeah.
Oh, fuck me.
I really like how Ahsoka was one of the voices, too, at the end of Rise of Skywalker.
Yeah.
That was a good one.
But I also read that Dave Filoni was like, this doesn't necessarily mean she's dead.
No. And it doesn't also mean that...
Dave Filoni was the creator of all this shit.
Yeah.
Like I mean, not the movie, but the Rebels. And Mandalorian. He's an executive producer of Mandalorian as well.
Wasn't he one of the writers with Jon Favreau?
Yes.
Anyways, yeah, there's a bunch of articles that says Star Wars Rebels spin-off series rumored for
I'm looking at one from a few days ago.
Yeah.
Hey, speaking of Star Wars, I've been playing Fallen Order.
Let's talk about that real
damn
quick.
it, Robbie, stop it.
I'm pretty content with our Rise of Skywalker talk. I want to hear about Fallen Order.
Man, if you have a chance to pick it up, I highly recommend it because I was unaware that I was getting an Uncharted game with a Star Wars skin on it. Like, it's really good. It's a lot of exploration. It's a lot of ancient civilization type stuff. And you play as Cal Kestis, who was a Padawan during the Purge, during Order 66. And he managed to get away. And so like his journey is like him coming out of hiding. He's kind of accidentally forced out of hiding, but it's also like almost like his personal redemption story of like how he reconnects with the Force and kind of continues his training. But he's doing this while helping some other people find an ancient artifact that has to do with some early Force wielders. It's really good. I don't want to like I've been playing it for about a week now, and before we recorded, I was playing a little bit, and I'm almost to the end.
I have a question.
Yeah.
Is it open world or is it pretty linear?
It's a little bit of column A, a little bit of column B. I say it's linear, but the places you go are massive.
Okay.
So it feels open world, but it's probably a little bit more linear. But that
sounds like older Zelda games, like it's open world, but you still have to do things in this order.
Yeah.
That makes sense. So, I want to play that. I'm going to get it the first chance I get. Quick, have you guys, this dropped either yesterday or today, a rumor on the future of Star Wars movies?
But the Old Republic trilogy?
Yes.
But like 400 years prior?
Whoa, really?
Yeah.
That'd be cool.
Because something that I've learned from The Mandalorian is you don't have to have any familiar characters to make great Star Wars content.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And if they go back that far to where there's no ties to anything and it's kind of a clean slate just in the past, wait a minute. Would Yoda be in it?
I think that was one
Maybe.
of the. I think that was one of the
He would fucking
concerns
have to.
where it was like, because he would be probably like 300 years old, 400 years old at that point.
Yeah.
So I think there was talk about that, and we're like, well, if it is, like theoretically, would he be there? And I don't know, like I think clean slate. Let's give us characters we don't know.
Yeah, I'm totally fine with clean slate.
Well, but I think throwing Yoda in there would be pretty fucking cool because I mean honestly we have two different Yodas. I mean 3 if you consider Baby Yoda, but prequel Yoda was all serious and Jedi Order and blah 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 and
also a hell of a fighter.
And original sequel Yoda was he was goofy.
No,
He
he didn't have anything else to
seriously
lose.
fucking
He lost it all.
silly. Yeah, but he was over
it was a
1,000
facade.
years old.
900.
No,
Well,
he
it
had
says over
trained
900.
as a Jedi. It said he had trained as a Jedi for 800 years. So, as slow as Baby Yoda's aging, he's over 1,000 years old. He's like Mormon Noah.
Well, Yoda tells Luke, quote, "When 900 years old you reach, look this good, you will not."
Oh, okay. I forgot about that quote. My bad.
And then,
I
but
will-
then
I
you're
will
also
free
right. For
myself out.
800
No,
years.
fuck you. I'm out.
Oh.
No.
I got this off of a Reddit post from 3 years ago because it said that in the title and it said, "And for 800 years I have trained Jedi, keep my own counsel on who to train." And then the question is, why did it take him 100 years before he took an apprentice, and what was he doing during that time? I like how we have that answer now.
Yeah.
It's like this species ages real slowly. I
Yeah.
love how in The Mandalorian, Baby Yoda is far and away the oldest character.
Yeah, he's 50.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, and the Master at Arms? What the hell is her name?
Cara Dune?
No, the Mandalorian that forges the armor.
The armorer?
Is that her name?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, okay, the armorer. She acknowledges that the species ages slowly and he won't live long enough to be its father. Oh,
Yeah.
there's Lulu. Everybody say hi to Lulu.
No. Hallelujah.
Right,
She has been here
put-
for a
put-
few minutes.
Put speaker in her ear.
No, we don't need this. Guys, I think there's a good place as any
Yeah.
to say that's our show. Thanks for listening to us talk about Star Wars a lot. We finally got it out of our system. I probably won't
fuck.
release this
I
episode.
wanted to say one more thing and I forgot what it was now. God damn
I
you
thought you were going
guys.
to call for Lulu.
No, that's not it at all.
I'm Jake, that's Josh, that's Jordan, that's Robbie, that's Lulu, as always.
God damn
Yo.
it.
That's Luke's X-Wing! I was like, it is Luke's X-Wing! It's like, yeah! We're like, yeah!